Known as the father of modern magic, Eugene Robert-Houdin was originally a clockmaker and automaton creator. He built mechanical figures that wrote, drew, or performed tricks. His success relied entirely on the audience not knowing it was clockwork. Perhaps the most famous automaton in history was a mechanical chess playing Turk. It was a sensation for decades. Built in the late 18th century by Wolfgang von Kempelen, it fooled audiences, including Benjamin Franklin and Napoleon, into thinking a machine could play chess, while a human master was hidden inside. In many of the toy industry's most lucrative, wonder-driven categories, animatronic and interactive companions, transforming figures, illusion and magic toys, and surprise hatching lines, hiding the mechanism is a central design strategy because exposing the method can weaken the experience. Transparent and educational toys often embrace openness for learning, but many high volume, high effect categories depend on concealment to sustain wonder, surprise, and emotional attachment. It's a dominant design strategy in those segments which drive massive sales, like you see with Furby and Hatchimals and Bakugan and many other animatronic lines. Too much transparency can often dampen wonder, which can reduce repeat play and weaken emotional attachment in these categories. That design instinct is a direct inheritance from automata and stage magic traditions. These mechanical dolls were the ancestors of modern robotics and toys. These connections are extensively documented by historians and scholars. Humanities researcher Eva Leupold writes, many scholars of cyborgian and post-humanist theory point to the late 17th century as a period when mechanizations of the body were becoming more and more common, and as a period in which technological and scientific advancements began to result in more and more cyborgian approaches to the human body. France, in the 17th century, was the birthplace of an explosion of mechanical toys and automata, for instance. Here's some more sources documenting this. I'll go ahead and provide all this along with the video in the description. Historical inheritance doesn't require conscious acknowledgement. Practitioners in an industry don't need to know they're working within a tradition for the tradition to be real and traceable. That's a basic principle of how culture and technological history works. And academic research into the psychology of magic supports this link. A study titled Technologies of Stage Magic, Simulation and Dissimulation, published in Social Studies of Science in 2015, defines the magician's core technique as dissimulation, not just hiding the mechanism, but rendering it absent from the viewer's mind. In high-end animatronics, like with Furby and Pleo or Hatchimals, the goal is dissimulation. The more the child's attention shifts from the apparent creature to the visible mechanism, the more the illusion weakens. The industry uses skin, fur, and silicone effectively as a stage curtain. If you see a button, you know it's a machine. If you stroke its head and it purrs, the causal link is hidden, creating the illusion of organic response. Sherry Turkle, a professor at MIT and a leading researcher in human technology interaction, is perhaps the most high-level, credible source on this specific topic. In her seminal works, Alone Together and The Second Self, Turkle documents how these toys are designed to press Darwinian buttons, triggers like eye contact, helplessness, and unpredictable movement that force human brains to regard the object as a sentient creature rather than a machine. She argues the design goal is to create a relational artifact. To succeed, the object must hide its predictability and algorithmic nature, dissimulation, so the user feels they are in a relationship with a living being. Papers such as Robot Betrayal, A Guide to the Ethics of Robotic Deception by John Donaher, or articles in IEEE Technology and Society discuss how social robots are designed to act as if they have internal states like pain, happiness, and love, even though they do not actually possess those. Donaher's framework helps explain why these toys matter ethically. Social robots can be built to signal capacities or inner states they do not actually possess, and to obscure the programmed or mechanical basis of their behavior. In that sense, the issue is not merely hidden hardware, but managed appearance and induced attachment. For example, a Hatchimal doesn't just turn on, it hatches and shivers, dissimulating the fact that it is simply executing a pre-programmed startup sequence.